Hi guys! Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. This is me, Sean from Keep It Up with Sean. And this is the third and the last part of this lecture series which we talk about soil conservation and management. Remember that it is our responsibility to protect our environment in which soil is part of it. I hope meron kayong matutunan from this video and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much and see you again next time. Bye! So what are the adverse effects of erosion? We have on-site effect and we have off-site effect. So on-site effect, we have the particle selectivity. De-deplete ngayon yung finer fraction kasi when there is flood, a lot of soil particles are being carried away. Minsan dyan ay nakikarried yung silt or clay, and what is being left are rock particles or rock fragments. So yun, so nagkakaroon ngayon ng particle selectivity. Yung dati is ang texture ng lupa mo is ganito, because of flood, a lot of the particles are being carried and what is left are just the sandy part ng lupa. So, and then through that time, hindi na siya ganun kagandang taniman kasi 'di ba pag sandy yung lupa mo, hindi na siya ganun ka-fertile compared na loam or clay yung lupa. And then there will also be surface sealing and hardening. There will be the nutrient loss because of the topsoil, which contains a lot of nutrients. And there will be loss of soil depth. Kung dati ang lupa mo is, there is erosion, maybe makikita mo na ngayon yung bedrock sa lupa. So, before, kung meron ka mga few centimeters na pwede ka pang magtanim, after erosion or after ilang balik ka ng baha is wala na yung lupa, yung natitira na lang is bedrock. So, hindi ka na makapagtanim ngayon. And then there will be also secondary changes like the water and nutrient availability, soil pH and lime requirement, soil temperature, and soil tilt, which will be affected. So those are the on-site effect of erosion. Meron naman ngayong mga off-site effects of erosion. The eroded materials may bury crops or lower the fertility of the adjacent bottomlands. And there's also a siltation, which affects the drainage canals, irrigation canals, ponds, or reservoirs. Siltation, ito yung mga, kung mapapansin nyo guys sa mga drainage canals, yun, natatakpan na ngayon yung daluyan ng tubig ng mga particles. So, may mga siltation na nangyayari. And then, it also raised the levels of riverbeds. And it raised the level of the riverbeds, introduces hazards to navigation which limit river, and there will also be some traffic. How can we predict the soil loss by water erosion? There is a model for that, guys, that was developed by Wishmeyer and Smith, which is referred to as the Universal Soil Loss Equation, USLE, Universal Soil Loss Equation. And the factors in the equation are simply numerical values that represent the physical processes leading to erosion. Today, kasi nga marami ng high-tech na ngayon, marami ng mga computer-based models na na-develop to calculate soil loss. But the USLE shows directly the effect of these factors. So it's a very, very important and good teaching tool to calculate the soil loss. So this is the formula of soil loss. So we have here the A is equal to 0.224 multiplied by the R, by the K, L, S, C, and P. So ano nga ba yung mga yan? So A is the soil loss, which is in kilo per square meter per year, kilogram. Ito yung lupa na natatanggal sa isang area. Then we have the rainfall multiplied, so 0.224 multiplied by all these factors. So R stands for rainfall, which is the runoff erosivity and index. K is the soil erodibility index. L is the length of the slope. S is the slope gradient factor. C is the cropping factor. And P is the erosion control practice factor. So when you have this information, you can simply calculate the soil loss by multiplying it by 0.224. I hope you understand, guys, the concept and a lot of us can do small things. Magsimula na lang muna tayo sa mga maliliit na bagay to conserve soil and even water. Kasi it's our responsibility to protect the soil and our environment so that yung mga future generation can still enjoy what we enjoy now. So we have here on the other side, we have mechanical engineering measures, and we also have biological or the vegetative measures. So when we say mechanical or engineering measures, we have here terracing, grassed waterways, pond and check dams. For the biological vegetative measures, we have here mulching, cover cropping, strip cropping, crop rotation, relay cropping, multiple cropping, alley cropping, high-density planting, and agroforestry, especially for windbreaks. Let's discuss first the Group A, which is the mechanical or engineering measures. So we have here terracing or terrace farming. I'm sure all of us are familiar with terracing and terrace farming. So in Cordillera, sa Benguet province, so this is an agricultural practice done by the farmers on steep slopes or hilly areas and higher altitudes. So how do they do that? It involves the building of platforms forming a step-like structures along a slope. Step-like, yung pwede nating hagdan-hagdan. Step-like. Hagdan-hagdang pala yan. Yeah. And the main goal is to periodically interrupt the slope of the terrain with flat sections to decrease the speed of water runoff, significantly reducing soil erosion and surface runoff. Can you imagine kung ang lupa natin ay nasa hilly area or mountainous area, kung conventional lang siya, ibig sabihin wala siyang terracing, once na may baha or may malakas na tubig, flow ng tubig, yung movement ngayon ng tubig is just directly pababa, di ba? But then, straight, pababa. But then, when you do terracing, since meron ka ngayong mga hagdan-hagdan, the movement of water will be reduced kasi dadaan muna siya sa isang step, pababa, and then since naka-level yung isang step, medyo slower ngayon yung kanyang movement ng water. Kaya, kokonti lang ngayon yung ma-erode na mga particles. So, that is the main essence of terracing. You break the slope by making some steps, reducing the speed of the water that is running off. Then we also have the grass waterways. Ano nga ba ang grass waterways? This is a vegetated channel that carries runoff at a non-erosive velocity to a stable outlet. So this can be enhanced by including filter strips to filter runoff and to trap sediment outside of the waterway. Meron siyang nakatanim na flexible grass in channel, and then sa gilid ngayon is may mga tanim which the main purpose is to trap the sediments. The vegetation in the channel should be laid down to convey water, while vegetation in the filter strip should be tall and stiff to avoid submergence and to filter sediment from runoff. And then we also have ponds. Pond erosion control is the act of stabilizing pond shoreline. So dyan sa gilid ng mga ponds with high-quality, durable material that protect exposed property, preventing stormwater, runoff, pond water, wind, and human presence from deteriorating the shore. So meron nakalagay. Then we also have check dams. Check dams are or gully plugs or structures built across channels to reduce erosion by lowering water speed and accumulating sediments during floods. So dyan. And then they also introduced in already degraded areas where natural or agricultural vegetation cover was lost or not capable of holding the topsoil. So ito ngayon yung mga check dams na nagpe-prevent ngayon ng movement ng floods. So tinatrap niya ngayon yung mga sediments na makikarry. Instead na mawawala siya, andyan lang siya ma-accumulate dyan. Then we also have the biological or the vegetative measures. So we have here mulching. Number 1 is mulching. What is mulching? Ito yung pagkagamit ng mga rice straws. Mulch prevents erosion by preventing the detachment of soil particles, slows runoff's velocity, and retains moisture to improve germination and establishment of vegetative cover. You can use here straws, or you can also use plastic mulches like that. So they stabilize soils and reduce storm water runoff velocity. And you also cover the soil, so yung impact ng tubig ulan is less kasi may cover ngayon yung lupa. Then we also have cover cropping, which can successfully decrease soil loss by providing coverage of the soil surface and protecting it from rain and wind. And the rooting into the soil profile and improving soil structure. Kasi syempre, once na mayroong mga tanim na nakatanim dyan, the roots will also keep up the soil from moving and from eroding. And it also encourages water infiltration to the soil profile. So, instead na magpa-flow horizontally yung tubig, because maganda yung kanyang rooting system, it encourages ngayon yung tubig is magpe-penetrate siya downwards compared dun siya sa horizontal na movement. The third is strip cropping. Strip cropping, it alternates strips of closely sown crops such as hay or wheat or other small grain crops with strips of row crops such as corn, soybean, cottons, or sugar beets. This helps soil erosion by creating natural dams for water, helping to preserve the strength of the soil. And certain layers of plants will absorb minerals and water from the soils more effectively than others. So may mga strips ngayon. So naka-row siya. So meron siyang ina-alternate niya ngayon yung strips ng mga tanim. Also because these crops here have different water needs. So kanya-kanya din siyang protection sa lupa. Then we have crop rotation. Rotating crops helps to improve soil stability by alternating between crops with deep roots and those with shallow roots. So the changing of crops routinely allows the land to remain fertile since not all of the same nutrients are being used each season. So yung tanim na ganito ay ganito lang yung kanyang kailangan mga nutrients, samantala yung isang tanim naman ay ganito. So nagbabago. So it will not deplete fully the nutrients of your soil. And in the past, fallow period is being practiced, allowing the land to rest and replenish its nutrients. Pinapahinga nila. Now, some modern allow fields to have fallow, but crop rotation has helped to increase productivity by replacing fallow periods with growing different crops that replenish soil nutrients. Instead na pinapahinga nila, walang tanim na nakalagay, they grow different crops that replenish soil nutrients. Pests are also deterred by eliminating their food source on a regular basis kung meron ka ngayong crop rotation. So this is very, very effective way of soil and water conservation. And then we also have relay cropping. Relay cropping is a method of multiple cropping wherein one crop is seeded into standing crop well before harvesting of second crop. So its advantages includes the potential to reduce nitrate leaching because, for example, wheat acts as a scavenger crop. It increases carbon sequestration and provides long-time ground cover and increased income for producers. So all-time mayroong cover yung lupa natin. However, the soybean planting process will likely stress the wheat crop and reduce yield from what would be expected of a non-disturbed crop competition. So there will be competition. When you do relay cropping, you really have to plan it good because the hope is that the two crops will result in greater income and profit than either single crop grown without disturbance. Siyempre, kung ang isang tanim mo ay malapit na i-harvest, maybe it can also affect the crops that is presently growing in the field. So mahirap din siya, guys. And relay cropping requires a greater level of management. You really have to plan it good kasi hindi siya ganun ka madaling gawin. Also, the pest management and control practices must account for more crops being grown in close sequence. So, planuhin ng maayos kung ano yung magandang i-relay cropping considering yung kanyang duration ng tanim, kailan at kung kailan siya itatanim at kung kailan siya i-harvest para yung mga practices na ma-i-involve doon is hindi siya ganun ka-complicated na i-implement. And then we also have multiple cropping, which is an agronomic practice of growing two or more crops on the same land simultaneously in a given growing season. The crops grown together are, however, harvested at different times to avoid risk because some crops are more resistant or escape the adverse conditions like drought, pests, and diseases, and to get variety of produce at the same time. So, ito yung advantage pag meron kang maraming tanim. So, while you are still waiting for one crop, you have the possibility to harvest the other crop. So, marami ka ngayong source ng income. And this was highly encouraged para diversified ngayon yung income ng mga farmers. And then we also have alley cropping. This is the planting of rows of trees and or shrubs to create alleys within which agricultural or horticultural crops are produced. This is suitable for farmers who are interested in growing multiple crops on the same area to improve whole farm yield. In Davao, a lot of farmers now are intercropping or doing multiple cropping like nagtatanim sila ngayon ng mga niyog, and then under the niyog nagtatanim sila ngayon ng durian, and then under the durian mayroon pa sa mga tinatanim na iba. It really requires planning, guys, and I know a lot of people are very, very successful in doing it. So, meron ka ngayong layers ng protection, layers ng tanim. So, you are highly sure na your area is covered. So, yung impact ng rain is less dun sa area na yon kung marami kang punong nakatanim. And at the same time, marami ka pang source ng income. And then we have here the high density planting. It is the planting of more number of plants than its optimum. So the plant roots hold sediment in place, helping to stabilize the areas where they are planted. And by absorbing water, breaking the impact of raindrops or wave splash, and physically slowing the speed and diffusing the flow of overland runoff, and plants reduce runoff erosion. Pero tingnan mo ngayon yung, like for example in the picture, high density yung kanyang pagtatanim ng mga punong saging. Tingnan mo, kung papasok ka dyan, hindi mo na yata kita yung masyadong madilim, guys. So, I don't think it's a good idea because there will be more competition for nutrients, sunlight, water, and self-shading. So, hindi siya, kasi prone din siya sa diseases at saka hindi na ngayon nakakapag-grow ng maayos yung saging na yan kasi saging also needs a lot of sunlight for photosynthesis and for other factors, and kung masyadong high dense yung pagtatanim mo, it can also affect the productivity of the plants. And then we have agroforestry. This is a collective name for land use systems and technology where woody perennials like trees, shrubs, palms, bamboos are deliberately used on the same land management units as agricultural crops and or animals in some form of spatial arrangement or temporary sequence. Agroforestry systems are multifunctional systems that can provide a wide range of economic, socio-cultural, and environmental benefits. So these are the threats to soil conservation. So we discussed already the measures na pwede natin gawin. Kahit sa bahay lang natin, we start by planting some trees, some plants sa paligid natin para our yard will be protected from soil erosion. If you have the opportunity, you can also support other groups doing some reforestation or planting trees activities. And these are the threats to soil conservation. Overcropping. A lot of tillage takes a toll on the land. Monocropping, like over and over again, planting in the same area, the same time, leads to unhealthy soil and loss of nutrients and soil. Second is the overuse of fertilizers and other farm chemicals, wherein the pesticides and herbicides can enter the soil. The excess fertilizers can change the soil pH. It becomes acidic. And if the soil is acidic, it can kill other microorganisms and affect plant growth. And we also have the kaingin system, which is the slash and burn farming practices, which can deplete soil humus and make the soil dry. So what are the disadvantages of soil conservation? Siyempre, na-mention natin yung kanyang mga advantages, but then we also have disadvantages. Number one is, it is very difficult, the contact of seeds with the soil, for example, for no-till. No tillage, yung hindi na binubungkal yung lupa, di ba? Kasi there will be problem with the contact of seeds with the soil. Some seeds may have germinating problems kasi hindi siya ganun kaganda yung kanyang contact dun sa lupa. Second is, some of the conservation practices are very labor-intensive and expensive. Time-consuming na yung iba is nadi-discourage, hindi nila nasusustain kasi nga matrabaho siya. But then when you look at the return in the long run, guys, sulit naman yung pagod at saka yung gastos nyo kasi you conserve the soil and ilang years pa nating ma-enjoy yung paggamit natin sa lupa kumpara kung wala tayong ginawa. And then it really needs good planning, like for example crop rotation, multiple cropping, kasi dapat alam natin kung ano yung cycle ng tanim na itatanim natin, kasi dapat alam natin kung ano yung mga activities na pwede natin gawin while nag-harvest or while growing pa yung crops. So these are the different kinds of slogan posters na na-develop in promoting during the World Soils Day to conserve the soil. So if you want to have food, conserve the soil, dude. Kasi you can have a good quality of seeds, varieties, fertilizers, pero pag ang lupa natin is sirang-sira na, you will need a lot of inputs to grow crops there. And of course, a lot of people cannot afford to have greenhouse. So that's why kung kaya man lang natin na iprotektahan yung lupa is we have to do our share. Second poster is plant a tree a day and keep soil erosion away. It's not only for us but for the future generations. So we really have to plant trees. And then if you remember the song of Rico J. Puno by Lupa, all of us will be going back to soil. So that's why we really have to pay forward now. We have to prepare and we have to take care of the soil. Kasi we only need 6 feet below the ground, diba? So we need soil for us later on. So thank you very much, guys, and I hope you learned something from this video. And watch out for the next video, and that video is all about soil orders. Thank you very much for supporting my channel, and if you are new to my channel, you can click the subscribe button, and you can also share this video to your friends who are busy preparing for the exam. But not only for the exam, but this is very informative, guys, and I want to encourage a lot of people to continue planting. It doesn't matter flowering plants, trees, it doesn't matter as long as there is plants. Kasi those plants can give us oxygen, and then it's a cycle, guys. It affects also the nitrogen cycle, and through our small ways, we can help to preserve soil and protect our environment. So thank you, guys, and see you again next time. Bye!